Hey folks, I've got a couple new arrivals from Atlas and we're going to check them out right now on Eric's Trains. So this box came directly from Atlas and this one I picked up on eBay. So this one is just an extension of the last video where I was showing you the Weaver Troop car and the newer Atlas version of that car. So here was that Weaver Troop car that I showed you. And then right here is the new Atlas version, but this one is in a CSX paint scheme. And in that video I said that I had ordered an Atlas version of the Army version of that car, and so here it is. So we'll go ahead and open up this one first and just take a quick look at it. It's the same as the CSX car, just a matching paint scheme to that older Weaver version. Except of course this one has LED lighting and Atlas trucks. And so there it is. So let me grab the Weaver one. You can see they're nearly identical. There are some slight differences in what's printed on the car. In the middle there you can see some differences, different road numbers. But other than that, pretty much identical. So again, Atlas did a fantastic job recreating these old Weaver cars. I also noticed something else just now. You'll notice that on the Atlas car, these upper windows are frosted so that they're translucent, but you can't see through them. And on the Weaver car, those are clear plastic inserts. So that was a change that Atlas made. But actually, I think that's a good change because what it does is it lets light come through, but prevents you from seeing the LEDs and the wiring and so forth, and thereby breaking the illusion. So I think that was a good upgrade that Atlas did. Kind of keeps the spirit of the car the same, but you know, you've got the LED lighting and now you've got these frosted windows so that you're not staring at electronics when you look into the car. All right, now we've got this smaller box, and to open this up, I'm going to use my Fox Edge FE520 from my knife collection. There it is. Very nice knife. This is a small box, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's something HO and not O scale. We'll see. I've had Atlas start sending me some HO items so that I can sort of branch out into that a little bit. Not that I'm going to be full-time HO by any means, but it's nice to check them out every once in a while. And yeah, this is an HO locomotive. And you can see why I got this one because it's chassis system. So it's the silver Atlas model locomotive, and it's a chassis U23B. Now the difference between the silver and the gold, I believe, is that the silver does not have sound, whereas the gold does. I usually try to get the gold, but I may have made a mistake and asked for the silver. So it's sound ready, but it doesn't have sound on board. You have to add it. That's the thing about HO. You always have to be careful when you're ordering them because some have sound, some don't. There's a lot more variation in the features with HO locomotives than with O. You know, with Lionel, when you order a legacy locomotive, you know exactly what you're getting every single time. And I guess it's sort of the same with HO. You just have to make sure you order the gold series if you want the sound. Now, of course, some people don't want the sound built in. They want to add their own sound later on, so that's why they sell versions without sound. Because you might want to add a different style of soundboard, a different brand, if you have a preference. Again, I'm not the expert on HO, so, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. But I'm learning. The more I get into this, the more I learn. The screw wants to be stubborn. There we go. I think it's cute how they have these things bolted in here, even though they're so small. The only time you see O-scale engines bolted into a cradle of any kind is when they're extremely high-end, like the early Vision Line diesels and stuff like that. There it is. Looks beautiful. This locomotive features 5-pole skewed armature motor with dual flywheels, realistic die-cast frame, blackened wheels, painted safety rails where appropriate, DCC ready, directional lighting, and Accumate couplers. So this does not have DCC either, I guess. No sound or DCC. Ooh, interesting. So I may have to add that at some point in the future. Now you'll notice that there's 2 holes in the bottom where the screws secured it to the cradle. And I believe, yep, they make little plugs for those holes, which is nice. I mean, it's on the bottom of the locomotive. Nobody's ever going to see those holes. But it's pretty cool that they went to the trouble of putting those plugs in there. There's one. And there's 2. Doesn't have a smoke unit, but that's not uncommon for HO. We're very spoiled on O-scale. We get smoke and all sorts of lighting effects and smoke effects and all that stuff, and that's not as common in HO. MTH HO had smoke units, but for other brands it's not as common. But very cool. So let's go ahead and take it for a spin. Alright, so just like the last time I reviewed an HO locomotive, I don't have a dedicated HO layout at this point, so I've got it on my ON30 layout in the Colorado room, which uses HO track, so it'll run just fine, but because this is O-scale narrow gauge, some things may look a little bit out of scale when this thing is running around, but it'll be okay, just don't pay attention to that. Now, unlike last time, I went out and got a few more HO freight cars, so this time this engine has a few more things to pull behind it. Now, as I said, this engine does not have DCC or sound because it's part of the Atlas Silver series rather than the Gold series. So I'm going to have to upgrade this at some point, and I was contacted by a representative from Soundtrax, and I believe he's going to hook me up with a Tsunami 2 board which will have DCC and sound. And so when I get that board, I'll do a video where I upgrade this locomotive with DCC and sound. And that should be fun and quite entertaining, quite a good laugh for all the HO enthusiasts out there, because I've never done anything like that before. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this up and take it for a spin. And there it goes. Nice and smooth. And this is maximum speed. Alright, so there you have it, the Chassis System HO U23B from Atlas. Pretty nice engine, and as I said, as soon as I get that Tsunami 2 board, I'll do a video where I add DCC and sound to this locomotive. That should be a lot of fun. If you'd like to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. Patreon supporters get all sorts of perks and benefits, and you can read about those perks and benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters. Your support means the world, not only to me, but to the future of this channel. And finally, if you'd like to buy an Eric's Trains t-shirt or anything else I might be selling, check out the Eric's Trains online store at ericstrains.com/store. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.